Good morning, everybody. This might be short because what do you say about a market that just doesn't go anywhere other than it just doesn't go anywhere? Wow. We'll see where this day ends, but where are they now? Pretty much unchanged. So the weekly chart, as we've been reviewing, is up against this prior high. Thought maybe it could push above it. This week is not happening. Just to review, their thoughts from earlier in the week was this bar on the weekly chart that poked up above the other bar that went nowhere. Open and closes the same with a narrow range. It had a small tail on the top. And when you have a bar like that that gets mildly rejected at resistance, it either has to be neutralized by just continuing to go higher. And so every bar, part of what we talk about, and I talked about yesterday in that presentation, was bar by bar analysis. So that bar said what I just said before, was mildly rejected at an area of resistance. It was a little bit of a range expansion bar. Well, the next bar, if you want to see prices go up, that's your bias. Well, negate it. You start off here and just go higher. Of course, it would have gotten right to the top of the trading range and maybe would have taken out this 420 area, but it hasn't done that. So it's pulling back a little bit. We got a little bar here, went nowhere inside the range, and it could produce what I refer to as a breakout bar failure. And this isn't quite an inside bar because it just marginally took out the high. But look, we don't always get the pattern exactly the way I put it in a textbook to show other examples. But if it's close enough, you got to think about it that way. So got a little breakout bar there, and it took out these two bars ranges. We get an inside kind of bar, and then if it takes out this low next week, it's going to open up the door to taking out the range expansion bar. So that's the thought. We'll see where the day ends. But if we end up with a bar something like this, that's going to be my thought on Monday. And of course, we'll see where the futures are Monday morning. Right now, things are just continue to run in place. Every day is just going nowhere. Going nowhere. And it attempted to go up. I'm looking at the daily chart and came back in again, and just not a big deal. It's just indecision. Could it be bullish price action? Yes, since it's at resistance. But when we have a pattern like this, what we need to see, we've already seen it, and it produced nothing, is something like that. Meaning last Wednesday, it tried to go down and it flipped right back up again. What we would look for would be something similar to that, which could be if prices went down today and came right back up and formed a bottoming tail bar. I don't know if that's going to happen. If prices were gapping down today and we got a range expansion green bar that closed up near the high, something like that would communicate that prices could go higher if it took out the high of that bar. So indecision, things are chopping sideways. We'll see where it goes today at the end of the day. And then we go into next week because we don't have anything right now. My theme coming into this week was what I explained. Can the dollar push up? We discussed the inverse relationship with the dollar and the broader markets, and the dollar and interest rates moving together. And if they were, the market's going in the other direction. So the dollar right now, coming off that low, and this is bullish price action at resistance. It's going sideways. It's not pulling back. The 10-year, it broke down and it came back up again. See the breakdown bar failure. So for the markets to go down, this relationship, which I've pointed out here, to potentially follow through, interest rates go up, dollar goes up. Right now it's acting the way it would. Markets go down. Do they go back down to the bottom of the trading range? I have no idea. But so far, they're at resistance and they're holding there for now. If they roll back down and the dollar goes back down, this should take out the high. So we're waiting. You can see breadth has been deteriorating. These are the cues. This is going sideways. Breadth is deteriorating. It's still, it's at the zero line, give or take. Sentiment is neutral, just another measure of indecision. The VIX is down at this low area there. It's not moving up yet. To some extent, we go to the daily chart. So it flipped up a little bit, but just doing nothing. It's indecisive. So we really don't have anything to, hang our hats on as to, hey, this thing's ready to go one way or another. It just could be another go nowhere day. And Jake is telling me now, I think for the third day, he's saying today is the expected move in SPX is 24 handles, which it's been spot on, where he's been saying 25 or, give or take, whatever, and nothing's happening. So tight little range, and just the 5-day average now, like a few weeks ago, well, not even a few weeks ago, a week or so ago, maybe two. Well, down here, the ranges were like 90 points, over a 5-day period. Now they're about 35 points on a 5-day period. So it's contracted quite a bit, and you can see that on the charts, of course. But a measure of it, and that's what we look at to say, hey, you know what, where does SPX have the potential to go, just based on average true range day to day? And as we look at that and kind of drag that down, take and down here and move that to, so what Jake is telling me, I guess, is based on option calculation volatilities. So, this isn't that far off, which is pretty darn tight. Right? I put this near prior day's close and kind of get, okay, average range. If we get to get an average range up or down, we want to be on the other side of that. And that's not that far, because SPX, for some reason, some news, whatever, it could go pretty darn far. Jake is helping me out with 4080. Do you think SPX could get to 4080 today? Well, yeah, of course it could. But there's the 20 MA and their support. The ideal scenario is for us to be beyond that support in the 20 MA. And 4170, the juice there. 70. This must be other options expiring today, based on what I see in, must be a monthly expiration. Yeah. It's the third Friday of the month, and a weekly expiration. So 4170. I'm just looking at what's there. 90 by $1? No, that's 65. 55 by 60. 4170. These are tight. I mean, it's been correct. The 24, 25, it's been correct, but it just hasn't been this close in a long time. So if you want to do SPX 0 DTE, those are the areas, right up there. And so that isn't very far for this to move, and it could move there. So it's not really within my comfort zone, to be quite honest. I like the no-brainers, but things might get moving one way or the other and get some premium down below if the markets start to move. Futures just doing nothing. Man, yesterday was a down day, and you see all these bars with the open and closes the same. It's sitting here on this little support area. Breaking below there opens up the door to coming, all the way down here. How many chances does it get to test this area? Well, I think it's had enough, but what's going to move it today? See, it's come off the low a little bit. So, getting up into that area, the top side seems more likely that it would not go up there. I think it's more likely it would not go up there. Well, let's go back and let me look again. It's still not all that attractive, but I think it's less likely it goes up there. But you do have this resistance up there in an SPX. But if it breaks here, and it can come all the way down easily down to that 80 area. Oh, it's your choice. As sitting on hands is an option as well. All right. Other markets going nowhere. Going nowhere. I know SOH is no fun. So, hey, go pick something like Google, Amazon, or some maybe $300 stock that normally maybe you would trade 100 shares and buy 1,000, and things get exciting all of pretty quick. Dow retracing down to the bottom of the wide range bar. And that's not what we want to see, but it's just not decisive yet. Today is far from over. Typically, we want to see, as these bars are at the top of a wide range bar, then you get like a bottoming tail bar and it breaks out. And it's just indecision. All right. We looked at the dollar. We looked at interest rates. We know silver's extended. It's hanging up there pretty well. Tops are so hard. Tops are hard because buyers just don't give it up so quickly. And you typically need a retest kind of a pattern, whereas as prices come down to a low, they're more likely to do V bottoms, more likely than tops will form that kind of a up and down kind of a pattern. Bottoms get retests as well, but this was a nice move off of the low. And what you want to see with bars staying up at the top of a wide range bar and then pushing higher. Gold just hanging there. If the dollar finds some legs to go up, this is going to come down. Just keep an eye on that. And this is coming into the gap fill. Buyers are going to begin to step up here, and we'll see if that flips up. Now, Bitcoin, which there has been this correlation, it's not an exact, but between this and the markets, and Bitcoin come up to this resistance, and we're getting this breakout failure, this bearish 180 on the weekly. So if this ends this way, I think that's going to be one of the coffin nails, so to speak. Maybe that's an exaggeration for this market to going down, but I think if Bitcoin's coming down and the dollar's going up and interest rates are going up, I think I'm going to be pretty darn confident that the S&Ps and other indices are going to be pulling back. It's yet to be seen. We'll see how that plays out. Now, interesting, the transports, they're hanging out pretty darn good. So this has room to go up. So, it got rejected yesterday, but I mean, if this can hold up here, It's just one of the things that are not in alignment. And when there's so much indecision here, I'm not sure which way this thing's going to go. So we need more information. Right now, we got a whole lot of patterns that are consolidating at resistance, and maybe they could get a little bit higher. Yet to be seen. So, we go to there's stocks out there that do look pretty darn good that can go higher. So we'll go with those individuals, and they, just leave the markets alone unless they have some kind of an exaggerated intraday move where we could, maybe take a trade on the futures or spiders or Qs. That's it for me. Have a great weekend, those of you out there on social media, and we'll be here in the green room. All yours, Dan.
All right, let's see what we have. So yeah, neutral market bias a mess. Like Greg said, the close will be important in terms of continuation or reversal bar. Oh, Greg, I think Kramer's been watching our show because I heard him say that the markets are trading schizophrenically.
Wow.
Isn't that your word?
That's my word.
All right, let's look at earnings here. CSX gapping up. It's no pattern. PPG, big gap. Has room to 150, but it's a big gap. You need a pullback. WRB 62 is an ugly gap to yesterday's low. But if for some reason it comes barreling back and negates that, which I doubt, then it's okay. But as of now, I see nothing. Look, that's on Amazon. Here's a 1, 2, 3. The problem is it's gapping over the high too much. But that's a beautiful pattern, daily, weekly, monthly. So let's watch that on a pullback. I said Meta looks like it might be rolling over. This would have been a call spread candidate, but earnings next week. Same with Amazon, earnings next week, or else I would have done a put spread. STX got shellacked yesterday on volume into earnings. Gapping down a little bit, but it still looks lower. T got shellacked closing at the low yesterday and gapping up. So this is a day trade long idea, maybe 10-minute high, something like that. UNH I've been watching. I posted 10-minute high. We'll look to sell a 0 DTE put spread 485. Just if it's gapping over this and with this yesterday's consolidation, so all that is now support. And I just want to make sure it's not going to do anything stupid at the open. So that's why I say let's wait 10 minutes. Rost was on our list yesterday. This is what we call a bullish end of day base. That is a beautiful 15-minute chart on the upper third. MT live on Wednesday. We talked about late day breakouts. And this is not a great one just because it's a wider range, but the fact that it's in that nice trading range in the upper 20% of the day's range with a bullish daily, that's a long watch. Let me go back to earnings here. KNX, it's not very liquid. We'll come back. No pattern. We'll come back. Gapping up to 311. This trade's so sloppy, but let's see if we can get a put spread on that on a pullback. This looks like a death trend regional bank, and there's a number of these that just aren't bouncing. Looks like it's gapping down. That just looks horrible. Ozark's a 1, 2, 3. It's at resistance though, but so I'd really prefer another 1 or 2 inside days, but we'll keep it on the list. Gapping up here, ASB. Today's Friday. Really has to get over Wednesday's high. Katie bottoming pattern of a beat up airline stock. This is a mess HTH, and I can't tell where you're opening. Raul. I'm long Ava. It's fine, sure. There's a buy setup with a turn, with a void, just trail based on your methodology, prior bars low or 15-minute pivots or whatever your trail methodology is. Yeah, TJX, we were talking yesterday too, SAP. This is like the foreign Oracle, gapping up too big, strong. HCA, this was the only one I was looking to sell a put spread yesterday in the earnings. I forget what strike I was doing, but it was way the heck down here. And I was trying, it was 90 cents, and I was trying to squeeze out a little more, and I didn't get filled, unfortunately. But that's having a nice gap up, but nothing to do with it for me. No pattern here, opening flat on slob. FCX down a little bit, no pattern. RF flat, no pattern, another regional bank. ALB 88, bearish gap. We'll come back to it because it's just in trading range. The only reason I'm looking at Verizon was because of E getting whacked yesterday. And so this got whacked also, I guess, in sympathy, and it has earnings next week. So I'm going to watch this, see if it sells off a little bit more. And then we can do a put spread maybe into earnings. This was a trade we put on yesterday. BBY looks great. We'll be looking to add NET. We sold naked puts yesterday. Looks good. And there's earnings next week. Wish here beat up stock. Something's going on. That's a big old gap. This UCAR IPO yesterday. It's a Chinese. Shoot, I forget what they do. I looked it up. It's a Chinese company, but getting whacked. And look, this Willigis is another Chinese company. I looked it up. One of them builds batteries, and one of them is just like a construction company. But this actually is an interesting 15-minute chart. Gapping up here, buy setup. XP, Sam mentioned. DC is asking about put. Oh, you did a put on XA. Oh, awesome. Awesome. That's the only one of interest yesterday. It's been the same old problem. Low volatility. We're not getting good premium. The spreads are bad. But HCA, I was shocked how juicy it was. I'm way far away. This is not a good pattern that we like to sell a put spread on. We like them selling closer to major support, but it was just so far away. I tried. All right, FXI, this China ETF. Biden's now talking about some executive orders or legislation or whatever he's doing with his pen to try to restrict companies doing business in China. So that's obviously going to have a negative effect on their profitability. J&J, look, well, weekly's fine, but I don't have any pattern on the daily. It needs to heal. 311, we already looked at that. Sequinome. Why am I looking at you? Something happened. I forget, but this was, I have on my list just as a big gap down. I wanted to see what it would do on this major support. And you can see it already rallied $2-3 pre-market. Talking about Sam, I set an alarm 323. If this can break out, it could be the bottom of something, even though the monthly is a nasty bull 180 breakdown. So it's not a core long. And that's fine. It took out the pivot high and it's going sideways with the void, so I'll put that on the list. My girl emailed me about Illumina, and I like the weekly monthly as a bottoming pattern, but it broke down yesterday. I mean, I like Wednesday's gap reversal. That would have been great to then buy over Tuesday's high, but then yesterday's bar kind of put a monkey wrench in it, but I'll still keep an eye on it. Mr. Big got a downgrade. Oh, I wanted to compare. I wanted to show you all the difference between Mr. Big top and tail breakdown and BBY that we did yesterday. Can you all, does it just jump out at you like a gazelle? The difference of these two? That they're both downtrends. They both had an ugly top and tail yesterday, but notice this one is from a tighter consolidation. This tail took out 2 bars highs, whereas this one's down 8 bars. See the difference? That is a great difference of why BBY is superior. All right, SMHs, we're going to do a call spread under yesterday's low. Matt, I mentioned topping pattern, but earnings next week. AM engine. Yeah, like it a lot. Yeah, a deep move into resistance and a 180 reversal. Sure. All right, I got T on the other computer, so let's put AM in here. I got a couple of alarms going off here. Holex was a buy setup in a 1, 2, 3. That looks great. 30-minute high or 10-minute high, whatever. When I say 5, 10, 30-minute high, I'm just it's a function of the setup on multiple time frames coupled with my bias in the broader markets, how aggressive I wanted to be. So Holex here, I'm going to put in a chart. It looks great. So BBY actually gapped up, so maybe we get our entry for a second. Oh, actually, no, I did not give a short yet. We did a call spread. The stupid red fin. Let's use 5-minute low as our stop. We did a naked put on a red fin, and it turned out to be an ugly breakout failure. Very ugly. Big old topping tail. The high of the day, it looked great. In retrospect, I should have waited for a retracement to make, in reversal. But I kind of give put spreads more room than the equity trade itself.